the best asagi breeder in Japan. I probably waited about 4 to 5 years. Finally was able to get my hands on not just one, but 2 koi fish. I'm gonna put them in this tub. You'll notice that they have a little bit of damage. Nothing serious. It is starting to heal. Round about just when I got started with koi. My grandfather lent me one of his old koi books, and I got to the section where they talked about the different koi varieties, and every day I would study this. Eventually, I thought I finally knew enough. Me and my father went to some rubbish koi breeder. Trash fish. Swimming around amongst the other fish was a beautiful little asagi. Blue on top, white in the middle, with an orange belly. Surely a future showfish. Young me, what did I know? Obviously, way too dark blue for a proper asagi. I thought she was so beautiful, but it wasn't enough to have a locally bred asagi. I wanted a proper Japanese asagi. Eventually, I would breed her, but I was still too inexperienced and I couldn't keep her babies alive. Eventually, she died. I don't remember why. It's been too long ago. For years and years afterwards, I still dreamt of the day that I could have a proper Japanese asagi. And then, round about 2023, a koi dealer, I've often done business with him, got in Kataoka asagi, considered to be the best asagi breeder in Japan. I selected the best of the babies, and I took him home with me. That fish spent a year in my cement pond back in the northern parts of the country before I moved. Unbeknownst to me, the monkeys used my pond as their own personal outhouse. Crapped my water into oblivion. When the arrangements for the move was finalized, I caught out my fish to prepare them and then got a columnaris outbreak. I treated them. I was working with a very finicky medicine, potassium permanganate, which you cannot get in the US. To you American guys, it's very effective, but your overlords won't let you have it. And my measurements weren't correct. I was under the impression that my measuring spoons was a certain amount of grams, and they were not. I ended up underdosing the fish. On realizing my mistake, I cleaned out their water and I dosed them a second time, which would be too much. I didn't realize it at the time though. Some of the fish did die from the columnaris, but my Kataoka asagi was safe. Then my father came to pick up the koi and drove them down to his property 12 hours away. While I was still sorting out my stuff in the north, this little asagi organs collapsed because of the damage that he took from the medication. Farming fish, I've dealt with a lot of loss and death, but we try again. That's always been my mentality. The koi dealer that I bought the asagi from had asagi available that he kept back to raise out, that he was ready to sell now. My father was interested in the goshiki to raise up and to sell on eventually. We made the arrangements. I picked up the fish, and when I got them home, they got sick in the bag. This is just sometimes stuff that happens, and it took them. Every single one ended up dying from costia. The koi dealer fortunately said he will give us new fish to make up for the fish that got sick in transit. And I waited, and I waited, and then finally, he advertised again, and here were these asagi. Nobody bought them. Nobody was interested in them. I couldn't believe my luck. If there were other people on his sales group who knew what they were looking at, these fish would have been gone. Finally, after years and years, I not only have my Japanese asagi, I have 2 Japanese asagi. It's been a long road. The dark blue one is definitely a male, and I have the perfect female waiting for him in the main pond. The lighter one looks like a little girl. The bodies on these animals, fantastic. They definitely have a lot of potential for size. In true fashion to Kataoka asagi, they are starting to develop the orange only now. The better an asagi, the later the orange develops on the belly. Now, you don't want the top to be as dark blue. That's a flaw. You want the blue to only be on the inside of the scale, and very light, almost white.